Hey, Joe here. After I posted my video about making a 10-second pass in my red Talon here, I was asked if I would give a walk-around of the vehicle and explain some of the things that are done to it that allowed me to achieve that time on such a stock-appearing setup. I'll take a look in here and show you how I feel it looks upon initially opening the hood versus what's actually done under the hood here. Let's take a look. As you can see, things appear to be relatively stock under the hood of my Talon. If you take a quick look, you'll see right away these aftermarket pipes over here, hot pipe and cold pipe, as well as the intake pipe and K&N filter. That stuff is obviously not OEM, and if you think about it for a second, you'll realize there's no mass airflow sensor there either. That's because I'm running speed density on this setup. So that's sort of a giveaway as well. You'll see on my intercooler piping here, I'm running a Forge aftermarket blow-off valve. I like this blow-off valve because it sort of resembles the stock blow-off valve, but works a bit better. You'll also notice my catch can there, which is kind of a nice addition to have. Keep those oil vapors and residue in that can and not in my engine. I also have an aftermarket battery here. I bought this battery as sort of a compromise between going with a very small battery where performance may suffer versus running a big heavy 45-pound OEM battery. This one weighs in at 21 pounds and has a little bit of capacity to it. The other thing you'll see if you look around a bit is that the fuel system here is not OEM. The big red fuel pressure regulator kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, even though it does bolt to the rail nicely, being an old style Busher SX bolt-on fuel pressure regulator. And you can also see the fuel pressure gauge, which I had to put that into the rail because this particular regulator doesn't have a port for it. The engine, obviously the centerpiece of the underhood picture here, appears to be stock. Has a stock intake manifold, stock throttle body, stock thermostat housing, stock exhaust manifold, stock turbo. I'm even running an OEM radiator here with the OEM radiator and air conditioning fans. I have a factory overflow tank here. Alternator and power steering, the way they came from the factory. There's even an AC compressor back here if you take a really close look. So things appear pretty stock when you look under here. But let me explain to you what's really happening. The engine in the Talon is a 4G63 block with a G4CS crank from a 2.4 liter out of a Hyundai. When you put this crank in this 4G63 block with the correct pistons and rods, you end up with a 2.3 liter. This one is 60 over, ends up being 2,323 cubic centimeters. So I have some extra displacement to work with there, which is kind of nice at times. The transmission is mildly upgraded with a double cone second gear from an Evo and a modified shift fork done by Lancerman to keep the shift fork from breaking. The transmission also has a 4-spider center differential that was built for me by Tim Zimmer at TMZ Performance. The intake manifold on this car is a stock 1G manifold. The throttle body is also stock 1G. The piping, as we talked about, is obviously aftermarket. The intake pipe is just a 45-degree 4-inch bend. The lower intercooler pipe is a J pipe that I got off of eBay. It routes to a 2.25-inch lower intercooler pipe from CX Racing down into the intercooler, the side mount intercooler, which then comes back up as a 2.5-inch aluminum pipe to feed the throttle body. Also CX Racing pipe. The piping kit was inexpensive and came with a generic blow-off valve that I ran for a little bit before it failed on me. I like the kit because it's aluminum, so it's lightweight, and it was inexpensive. I powder coated it black so it would blend in a little. Back toward the firewall behind the engine, you'll see that orange plug there. That orange plug connects to the map sensor, which allows me to run speed density, in conjunction with the air temperature sensor you can see at the bottom of the screen. It's white with a gray clip on it. To the left of the map sensor, you can see my aftermarket fuel filter and fuel line, as well as my fuel pressure sending unit, so I can log fuel pressure. Arguably, the star of the show is right down here, disguised as a factory 14B turbocharger. What we actually have here is Forced Performance's 68 HTA, which is a turbo rated at 51 pounds a minute. What's probably my favorite aspect of this car, as far as the sleeper status goes, is that even with the hood shut, a smart car guy would back up and look under the front end of this car. What would they be looking for? They'd be looking for a front mount intercooler, but you're not going to find one here. Still got a side mount. That's no stock side mount though. You can get a better look at it around here in front of the passenger wheel. That's an old school Dijon tool upgraded 1G side mount intercooler. I really put some effort in trying to keep this car looking as stock as possible. The side mount intercooler might be too much. My intake temps still go as high as 244 degrees on a drag pass, and that's really unacceptable. To help battle those high intake temperatures in the combustion chamber, I'm running E85 for fuel. The car is set up with a flex fuel sensor so that I can put 93 octane pump gas in it if I need to in a pinch, but I generally just keep E85 in it. Wheels are these 17-inch MSRs with Sumitomo HTRZ3 tires in a 225/45/17. The brakes are OEM 1G big brakes. The caliper was powder coated. The rest of the stuff came from Rock Auto. I did go with some power slot rotors in the rear, basically because they were a good price. The 10-second passes were made on an M&H muscle car tire that I borrowed from a friend. Those really helped get my 60-foot times in check, as it was pretty hard to launch on these street tires. They wanted to hop and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and I really preferred to save my drivetrain and stick with the bias ply tire. I forgot to mention this giveaway of a performance modification. These old K-Sport shocks were on this car when I got it. They don't look great, but they work well. A peek under here reveals the Bullfab front crossmember, a basic 3-inch exhaust, as well as a 3-inch aluminum drive shaft. All the bushings, except the subframe bushings, have been replaced with polyurethane. The 3-inch exhaust ends back here, with this MagnaFlow muffler and tip that I painted satin black to draw attention away from it. Back here we have a stock fuel tank with a Walbro 450 regular pump in the tank that's been rewired direct from the battery. The upgraded rear sway bar is pretty hard to miss. All of this is controlled by the ECM Link version 3 modified factory ECU that I run in here that is super flexible and more than I need in this street application. It's a great engine management option. So that wraps things up here. That's a look inside the Talon and what makes it tick. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
Put cheese on it.